Jasmine remained silent, lost in her own thoughts. I Got the Lovin' is number 11 in Europe. Not just Germany, but all of Europe. My voice, my words, my labor, my talents stolen. There would be little difference if some art dealer stumbled upon a struggling painter, one that could sketch with as much skill and passion as a Michelangelo, and the dealer paid the artist $25,000 for four portraits or murals or whatever, and then took the works home, carefully erased the true name of the artist, then replaced it with his own name. Art is art. Music is art. This isn't right. Screw confessed to all that he knew, the contract he was looking at all too well, because he had signed a similar contract with Wolfgang 2 years ago. Wolfgang and his partner had collaborated on a CD with Wolfgang, and Wolfgang had them sign a bogus contract that the two fought and lost in the German courts, which meant they had been forced to pay the legal fees for them and Wolfgang. Music is art, Jasmine kept thinking over and over as everyone talked around her, protesting what they thought of Wolf and the gang. But music is art. Jasmine thought of her hypothetical struggling artist. The talented artist would later, while begging on the street, come across a gallery, possibly, displaying his art in the windows, valued at $20,000 each. Art is music. Music is art. Would the artist pick up a brick, smash the gallery's window, and retrieve his works? Not if he was truly talented. Art is art. Music is art. Saddam said something in Deutsch, then almost got past Jasmine, and she turned to Twyla for verification. Twyla, did he say that he works at the studio with Slam and Screw, or what? Jasmine said, referring to something Saddam had told Lisa. Lisa overheard Jasmine's question and turned to Jasmine and said, Yes, he owns the studio Slam and Screw record at. Then she turned to Saddam and asked if he thought Jasmine could do anything about this, and he looked at Jasmine and shook his head slowly. Art is art. Music is art. What would that struggling artist do? What would he do? Did he say a studio? That struggling artist would take that begging money, buy him some new brushes and a canvas, paint 5 more works, take them to the gallery, and ask the owners if the bogus artist could do the same. Just as Screw wrapped up his Wolfgang story with the revelation that he and Renata had been lovers for 4 years until he met Wolfgang 2 years ago, until she met Wolfgang 2 years ago, it clicked. Screw! I've got it! All eyes were on Jasmine as she excitedly laid out the first draft of her plan. Screw at first looked at her quizzically. Then realization dawned. That's fucking brilliant, Screw exclaimed, and looked at Jasmine in amazement. Lisa and Sasha agreed that, if nothing else, it was better than doing nothing. Twyla just smiled, thinking things had been taken care of. And Saddam smiled at Jasmine and said, Twyla, say you are a very smart woman. Now I see this. We do this. That's all Jasmine needed. She knew she could be triumphant now. Music is art, and she was an artist. Some things are gonna change around here, Jasmine said to no one in particular as Screw got up to find his date book and schedule studio time for Jasmine. With them pulling together on this, they might be able to pull this off.